Hello and welcome to another episode of Abbey, the podcast lady. It has been a minute since I've had a guest on, but I kind of took a little bit of a summer off of using the Podmatch service, which I am so incredibly fond of. But the nice thing about it is, even with taking my summer off, it was still working in the background and still finding me some really cool matches. So we have my friend Rich joining us today. Hello, Rich.
Yay. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is.
Yep.
Yes.
So we got connected through Podmatch. You had a wonderful pitch for me, and I am super excited to hear about how you operate your business and what your role is in the podcasting industry. Because as I was saying before we got started recording here, everyone's is so different and every journey is so different. So how did you find yourself behind a microphone?
Well, I was a kid who didn't want to be noticed. And so we've been working a lot the last couple of years with my therapist on trying to be okay with that part of it. But at 12 years old, I was on summer break, flipping through the channels, saw the Rosie O'Donnell Show. If this is how either sick my mind is, it was a rerun from when she was in LA. She took her show from New York to LA. And everything about it, from the moment I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this place is magical. And it didn't matter if you were a celebrity on the stage, if you were a crew member, an audience member, or someone at home, like everybody mattered in that production of her show. And I thought, I want to do that. I needed a place where I felt like I belonged, and that was it. And I was like, I want to do that for other people. And so one way or another, I just started doing it. I would sit in my bedroom while my brothers were outside playing baseball or whatever they were doing. I had a desk and I would literally just sit here and mouth things because I didn't want my family to like hear what I was doing. And so I would talk to celebrities in my room. No cameras, no anything. It was just me. And that's still kind of what I do, but 30 years later. And that's how it started.
That is amazing. I love that, like the fear of being caught by your family doing something like this, because I wanted to be a radio DJ growing up. And I kind of had the same thing where I was scared of being too perceived, but I would listen to the radio for hours on end. And then I would just like sit there and like pretend like if I was the DJ, here's how I would introduce this
Yeah.
song, or like this is what I would do with my show. Like I feel that so deep in my bones. So I'm glad that there's a kindred spirit out there with me.
Used to go to Spencer's Gifts in Duluth, Minnesota, and that's where you could buy like the fun lights that you would use at parties and the little lamps with bubbles. And I literally just had a TV studio kind of, and I would have musical guests on and I would play the CD and then I would have all the lights going. It was a whole production.
You had the full production. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Another invisible string for us. I worked at the Spencer's at the Mall of America, so I know all about all those lights.
Yes. Do you remember when I first fell in love? This is going to be like a Minnesota cheese fest, but when I was a kid, there was a meteorologist in Duluth that I fell in love with. Her name was Rhonda Grusendorf. And I thought she was just so pretty. And I loved the way she spoke. And I wrote her a fan letter
Oh,
to the TV station. And she wrote me back like this 2-page letter. It was so sweet. I never got to meet her. I wanted to reach out to her when I was doing my show, but she's like out of the business. So I didn't reach out to her because I didn't want to bother her. But if you're listening, Rhonda, I love you.
Rhonda, come find us.
Come on.
You know, I actually have a friend who used to be a news reporter at the Duluth station. So I wonder if we can, let me send some texts after this. We'll see if we can get
Abby,
Rhonda on the horn.
Abby, don't make my dreams come true.
It's all about who you know, right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. Okay, so you're a kid, you got all the lights, you built a full TV production in your bedroom. How does that then translate to podcasting as an adult? What was kind of that journey in between there?
I went to school for theater. I went to UW Milwaukee for theater and thought, well, I'll just become an actor. I'll be famous and then I'll get a talk show because that's what Rosie did. So
Easy.
that's what I'll do. Yeah, that doesn't work like that, it turns out. But I always wanted to do it. I did it on Milwaukee Public Television. I did a couple episodes of a show and I just have sort of always done it one way, whether it was being filmed or not, or out there or not. But I've always looked at it as a TV talk show, like not really a podcast. And so in 2015, 2016, there was like some random app that I came across and it was sort of podcasting before video podcasting was a thing. And I thought, well, I'm going to do that. And so I converted a basement in my house in Maryland into a studio. And I had a section for audience members, bands would come over, and I started filming. But I didn't know how to do anything. I just knew that I wanted to talk to people. Like I didn't have microphones. I didn't have lights. I had cameras with like the little microphones on top, but I didn't know. But I knew I wanted to do it. And so I just started filming and talking to people. And then I was like, oh, I have to get it from here, like on suddenly I was my grandma. Like, how do I get it onto that thing? Like, how do I do this? And so I just taught myself, like I Googled like free editing software and started doing it myself. And then as my friends who had businesses like saw what I was doing and having fun, they were like, can you help me do that? Like, maybe I want to start doing video. And so I was just throwing stuff up on YouTube. That's what I was doing in 2016. And then I got to do a game show for a nonprofit in San Antonio. That was really fun. That was on TV. It's just been a weird kind of like, it was always like the side thing, like almost still hidden. Like, don't really tell anybody that you do that and go get a real job. And even though all my real jobs were also creative and ridiculous and like not real jobs at all. And a couple years ago, I left a job that I thought I would have for the rest of my life. And in my head, I didn't have a backup plan and I didn't know what I was doing. And I quit and I was like, oh, I guess I'm a podcast producer now. And then I was like, well, that's what you should have been doing the entire time. Like, why were you trying to do anything else but that? So for the last couple of years, that's what I've been doing full time.
That's amazing. And there's so many, again, the invisible string theory here. Like, I literally left a job I thought I would have the rest of my life and was like, I guess I'm a podcast producer now. So like the fact that there's another one of us out there, I feel so much less alone. This is amazing.
It's free therapy right here on your show.
Yes. Have you ever watched Only Murders in the Building?
Yes.
Okay. So like, I think it was like season 2 or season 3 when Selena Gomez was having the identity crisis. And she has that great little quip where she's like, I'm a podcast producer. I'm a podcast producer. And I'm like, that's me.
I know, because it feels like it's too good to be true, right? Like, I don't know. I still struggle with it all the time of like, this is what I get to do because it's what I always wanted to do. It's like, nobody gets to do that. They're going to make me cry, Abby, on your show too.
It's okay. This is a safe space.
Okay, good. But yeah, it just feels like every day I get to learn from everybody I get to work with, and it's amazing.
I could not agree with you more. So let's get into what your role is as a podcast producer, because what I have found is there's a lot of us, but there's not a lot of us out there. And every time I come across another one of us, we're all kind of doing it a little differently. So how are you working with your clients, serving them? What is kind of your role in their shows?
I like to be the person and work with people. Actually, I love to work with people who want to be in front of the camera, want to have a podcast, but do not know how and do not care how anything else happens. Because I wish I had me back when I started mine. And that's what I love is like, you know, you have a talent or you have something to say, you have information to give. And so I do everything. I have a studio. I now have a real studio and all the walls here have different backdrops and I build little sets for everybody that I work with. And they come in and I film it, I edit it, I put it out on all the platforms. I do all of that for them so they get to just show up, do what they're good at, and then leave me alone so I can go do what I'm good at. And so I have that part of it. And I realized over the years that I've been doing this that people have a lot to say and should be bragging about the stuff that they're doing, no matter what it is. They're putting great stuff out into the world. And they didn't think that podcasts were like a way to do that because it felt like it was too far away, you know, like that was unobtainable. And so I started helping people find podcasts to go on. Like they had great experiences with me. And I wanted to be like, but it doesn't have to stop here. Like you can still have more fun and make more content and get your word out by going on all these others. So I kind of bridge the two together now.
That's amazing. I love that you're doing that for your clients because that's exactly my approach too. It's, hey, you have something to say, you have a story worth sharing, you have ideas worth spreading, but you don't need to handle any of the back end work because I'll do it and I really like doing it. So just let me do it.
Yes. And we'll talk to some people who think they want a podcast. And I'm like, are you sure you don't just want to like maybe go on podcasts as opposed to all that goes into creating and producing a show? Like that's a light bulb moment for a lot of people too. Like there's so much, which you probably talk about all the time. Like there's so much you get out of one 30-minute interview that you really couldn't do by yourself.
Exactly. Yes. That 30-minute interview is so much more than just an interview. And I feel like I am a broken record saying that over and over and over, but it's so true. And I feel so passionately about it.
Yes. Yes. I just want to shake everybody that I meet. Like I get people from that have been on my show a year ago that still are sharing clips. Like it's still relevant stuff and it still is new information. Like this interview with us is just the beginning of promoting this episode. There's everything that comes after that it can be used for.
Yes. And it can be literally everything. Everything can start
Mm-hmm.
with just this and just sprawl out into everything else. And I try to explain that to not only my clients, but just everyone I come in contact with. And I think people are like avoiding eye contact with me
Yeah.
when they see me in person at this point. Cause it's like, that's that crazy podcast lady.
Yeah. So like before we started filming, I took a picture of myself. And then after this, I'll post a picture that's like with your logo on it to say that I was on it and like look forward to that coming out, whatever, with the description, tagging you. Like it's a whole little ecosystem that you have to build when you're doing these things because it helps you and it helps the podcast person. And hosts are doing so much work. This is a different topic we could go down, Abby. Well, maybe we'll do this on a different one. You can cut this out if you want.
Oh
But
no, we'll keep it all in.
the little like fight argument about whether or not podcasts should be charging their guests to come on. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I have very big thoughts on that. But hosts work really hard to put out, many hosts, not all, but many hosts work really hard to put out great content for you as part of your marketing plan. And if it's done well, it works.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, if it is done correctly, it is so effective. I have seen like podcasts that are done well get turned into USA Today best-selling book deals and cross-country speaking engagements and hundreds of thousands of clicks a month on websites. But you got to do it right in order to have those results.
Yeah. And be consistent. And Abby, yes. We should have our own podcast of us just yelling at people. Like you also have to have your personality in there and you have to like do what feels good for you, but it's not as simple as people think when they're first starting out, but it's also not as complicated either.
It's scary at first because it's just like anything. I was just having this conversation with a new client I'm onboarding. She just recorded the first couple episodes. I have a studio as well, and she came in studio and worked on it. And then she's like, okay, I'm ready to tackle this on my own. I'm like, okay, call me if you have issues. That's why I'm here. I'm in your back pocket. But she called me. She's like, I recorded the first two and I just think that they're so bad. And I put so much work into them and I think they're horrible and no one's going to listen. And I'm like, here's the thing. You don't go to the gym for the first time and pick up a 50-pound weight. You start with the fives.
Yeah.
You got to start small and get those reps in. And honestly, I'd be upset if you didn't hate your first couple episodes because that means you're not growing and changing.
I do test episodes all the time with everybody that I'm starting with. Like we're going to record them in case they're good, but this is just like figuring out what works for you, what doesn't, your timing. I mean, to look at any author, any book you read, that is not the first thing that was written and they were like, done.
Yeah. Gosh, can you imagine?
Yeah. I would love to see some of those though.
I feel like that was Britney Spears' memoir, different topic.
Oh. Abby, can you imagine what that started out as?
No, because the final version was so hard to read.
I did the audio version because I couldn't read it. I did the audio version while I was walking my dog, and that was like, I needed to take breaks.
Oh, I'm so glad that someone agrees with me on that. That makes me feel good. But it's so true. Like the first version of anything usually doesn't see the light of day. And you just got to get through that first version in order to get to the second version, to get to the third, fourth, fifth. Like you got to start really crappy. Like if someone made me listen to my first radio shows, nope, I'm running the opposite direction as fast as I can. That is not happening.
Yeah, you're like, how did I not get fired after episode 1? Yeah.
Truly, what were they thinking putting me on the payroll?
Yeah. When I first started, I would watch every episode, which for a person like me is probably not smart, but I would like, what is one thing that I can change for the next time I do it? And it doesn't have to be major. It doesn't have to be a huge overhaul, but like, what is one thing that I'm noticing? Like, oh, that light is weird, or maybe the camera should be over or zoomed in, like little things that maybe someone might not really notice, but it is just that slow, steady, at least you're improving. That's what I always think.
Yes, I got it right here. And this isn't like, oh my God, promote what I do. It's literally, it just came in the mail yesterday. I created a podcast journal for my clients because I wanted them to do that improving. So it has like enough pages in it to plan a year's worth of content, but there's an entire page and it's like the good side of the book to write on of like what went well, what needs to be improved, what are we doing different next time? I'm like, this is every client is getting this book and we are going to fill it out.
Yeah. Where can people get that? Because I want it.
It's published on Amazon. I'll get you a link. Yeah,
okay,
it just
good.
went
Thank
live
you.
and I just got the first copies. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I couldn't find anything I wanted, so I made it myself.
That's what happens.
Truly. Since we have very similar brains, similar businesses, I would love to hear your take on this. I had a client meeting a couple weeks ago and they are interested in starting a podcast, but their argument is, well, everyone else already has a podcast. Everyone and their mom has a podcast. What's your response to that?
Well, you don't have one. Like, yes, I think what I love about podcasting now is there's a low barrier to entry. And I love that because people can be creative and people can get their voices heard. The problem is it's a low barrier of entry. And so everybody grabs onto them. Most don't last that long. There's a ton of burnout, and your perspective isn't out there. And there might be something similar, but it's not your voice.
It's like listening to a tape recorder of exactly what I said to them.
Yeah. Like, same thing. Why do musicians remake other people's songs or do covers of them?
Exactly.
I just thought of that just now. So I'm going to write that down and use that. But
yeah, make a note of that one.
And figure out then, if you think every yours is going to be the same, then figure out why you think you do want one, or what you can maybe do that is a little bit different than everybody else.
Yes, I completely agree with all that. It seems like everyone has a podcast. That's not true. If everyone had a podcast, me and you would never have a free second in our lives because we'd be editing until the wee hours of the morning.
Well, it is 4 a.m. that we're filming this, everybody, but no, we're not.
Yeah, this daylight is the sun coming up.
Oh, right. Movie magic.
But it's like you have a unique story to share. And even if someone like, look at all the murder podcasts that are out in the world, there's a lot of them covering the same stories too. But everyone has a different perspective on it.
Yep, exactly. I don't like that argument because also, otherwise, why are you even thinking about it? There's a reason you're thinking about doing it.
Yes, for sure. So I would love to know what your favorite parts of working with clients are, because I know what mine are and it seems like our businesses are very similar. So I'd love to know, like, when someone comes to you and they're getting the podcast process started, like, what are the parts you're most anticipating?
I love set design is what I'm falling in love with. Like, I build little sections of the room. And I think my favorite story, when you started bringing up that question, what popped in my head was I started a podcast for an HR consultant. And she was like, I think I just want it to be audio only. Like, I want to just be relaxed. Like, it's just a conversation. I don't think I want to like get that deep into it. And so I was like, all right, yeah, audio podcast. Great. And then she started getting like excited about after a few episodes. And she was like, maybe we should do video just so I have content, like just so we can record it, so I can throw it out there. And I was like, yeah, great. And then we were doing it remotely as well. And then after a while, she was like, this is really fun. I don't know why everybody doesn't have a podcast. And I was like, well, what do you think about maybe filming it at the studio? And she was like, yeah, we can try it. And she walked in on the first day. Like, I designed a set that she didn't really know what it looked like. And I walked in and she was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm Ricky Lake walking onto my set for the first time. And she, like, the joy in people's faces when it's going well and when they're having fun and it doesn't feel like work, even though it is, it's part of the whole plan. That's what I love about it. Like, just the excitement of being around people in person and everybody's just like looking forward to what's coming next.
Yeah, that in-person recording, there's truly nothing like it. I have clients kind of scattered across the country, but I work with a lot of them locally in the St. Cloud area in Minnesota. And the ones that I get to like connect with on even a monthly basis to come in and batch content in the studio, like getting to spend that time in person, it's technically work for all of us, but it never feels like work. It feels like we're just hanging out, having a good time, sharing some laughs, sharing some stories. Like, it's genuinely so fun.
Yes. I was just talking about this to someone else too, because we work in such small groups, right? Like, it's just me and one other person, or maybe their guest, to really be careful with who you work with and making sure you all gel and make sure you get along, because you are working in close proximity, close quarters to someone. And if you're not getting along, it's going to show up somehow in that process. And that took me a while to learn to, I don't know about you, but like when I first started, I was like, I'll work with you and I'll work with you because you have $5. And then it was like my energy was just drained, because you're creating art is really what you're doing. And so there's a lot of output and you have to be able to maintain that.
Yeah, I learned that lesson when I was a radio DJ, when I was a morning show host back in COVID. Our entire radio station cluster kind of they hit the shuffle button and they just shoved us wherever we needed to be with the loss of staff. And there was a bunch of us that got paired up randomly to like make a morning show. And it just like, we tried to make it work and it just like didn't didn't work because there was nothing organic about it. When it's forced like that, it's just hard. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And you do need to know when to take that step back and say, hey, it's not working. And that's probably going to lead to a hard conversation. But I can guarantee you're going to feel a hell of a lot better after that conversation is had.
Yeah. Well, and bringing that back to like what works for a person's podcast, like that's also like what does success look like in your podcast? You know, like so many people start, like I did the same thing where I'm refreshing views on YouTube. Do I have 5 views yet? Like how come millions of people aren't watching today when it went out? And really figuring out like what you consider success for your podcast. And then when you reach that, making sure that you're celebrating that because that's important.
Yes.
Because you can go like, okay, yes, stop and recognize it, yell about it, shout about it, tell everybody you know. Because it's easy to go, well, I got to do the next thing. I got to go to the next, or how can I get 50,000 more views? You know, like you can constantly be running around in circles and constantly be elevating the bar for yourself in this world.
As a firstborn Leo oldest daughter, the goalpost is never reached. It's just moved further down the field.
It's a sports reference, so I don't really understand that. Yeah, exactly. It's so important because sometimes it feels like you're just sitting here by yourself. And oftentimes we are when we're creating this stuff. And then it's like, what is happening? Like, am I really doing this by myself? You know? So, yeah.
And you're never truly alone. It might feel like you're alone, but you do have that audience. Even if it's a small audience, there's people cheering you on. And they'll probably never tell you that they're cheering you on. But they are. They're the ones that are like every week waiting for your show to drop on that Tuesday morning. Like they're out there, but you probably are never going to hear from them. And that's unfortunate, but
yeah, the people who need it will find it is what I always tell people and myself.
Amen to that. Well, this has been such a wonderful conversation. I am so happy to find a kindred spirit, a kindred Midwesterner, even though you're not a Midwesterner anymore.
I'm still a Midwesterner. Come on, I lived there for like 30 years. I have to be. I'll wear that proudly.
Can't take that cheese out of that Wisconsinite.
No.
This has been so fun. Okay, so if people want to work with you further, how can you help them? How can they reach out to you? What do you offer to help them on their podcasting journey?
Yeah, I have a studio. If you're in the like Charlotte, North Carolina area and South Carolina, I have a studio. You can come here and hang out and film stuff. I book people on shows. I host a couple shows, so maybe you want to be a guest on one of mine, but makeyourdayricher.com. You can message me there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being on my show and taking the time to do this. I appreciate it, and we'll just have to stay in touch about literally everything podcasting.
Seriously, this is fun. Thanks.